Welcome! Hello, I'm Clarissa from dreambookproject.com. I'm the official interviewer for Freedom Summit Global. And for the past days and for the next coming days, we'll be getting to know the fantastic local and international speakers for Freedom Summit Global. These speakers will be showing us how to live a life of total freedom where we're not shackled by time, money, or location. And this afternoon, we are joined by a very special guest. He has over 25 years of leading teams across multiple industries. He has coached hundreds of people to earn figure incomes in sales, and he believes that dreams are real. He's the leader behind Leaders Must Lead. I introduce to you the fantastic Dan MacPherson.
Hello, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Hello, Dan. The first question that we have for you is, what does freedom mean to you personally?
You know, for me, freedom means the ability to do the things that I want to do, the things that bring me joy, the freedom to help others, the freedom to do what's right. And I think so many people don't realize that they have that freedom in their everyday right now. And that's a lot of what we're talking about at Freedom Summit Global. It's not just the opportunity to create freedom, but it's the opportunity to recognize that we have freedom right now. I believe that life is 20% what happens to you and 80% how you respond to it. So how we respond to the situations we have really says a lot about what we believe about freedom and how much freedom we experience.
So it's not just having the ability to do what you want to do, but it's the ability to serve other people. And you mentioned that it's actually a matter of recognizing that you already have that freedom within you or for you.
Yes, that's a big part of it for me. And for me, it took a while to realize that, right? I would come up with every reason why I couldn't do something. And now I find the reasons why I can. And some of that comes from understanding how you can have freedom of time and how you can have freedom of travel. But it also comes from removing our own self-imposed barriers. There are these barriers that we have that we create for ourselves that say travel is hard or or I don't have enough time. When instead it's just changing with the lens we look through. It's changing how we perceive things and making our choices differently so that we're being proactive with our lives and we're happening to our lives instead of them happening to us.
So it's a matter of perception or belief.
That's a lot of it, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, can you do things to make more freedom? Yes. but it starts with the right core belief.
Yeah. So you kind of need that internal freedom to create that external freedom.
It certainly helps.
Yeah. The second question is, what strategies did you create to become successful?
Well, I think that rather than so much having created strategies on my own is that I have learned from others. One of my gifts in business and in life, I would say, is synthesis, the ability to learn from a lot of different sources and then to grab a piece from each one and create something that is maybe better than any of them. So I've been a lifelong learner. I've tried to learn from everybody that I can and grab knowledge and to just get better every day. In fact, what that's turned into for me is one of my key practices, which is gratitude, growth, and I'll add in exercise as well, but a gratitude and growth practice. In the morning, when I wake up, I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for that are not repetitive. That gets to be the hard part by about day 30, but they're not repetitive. And I write them down, and I find at first it didn't have a huge effect, but about 2.5 weeks in, I would find that 12 hours later, I was still grateful. And the more grateful I am, the more focused I am on other people and on how good things are, the more good things happen and the more the success began to occur. The second is that at the end of the day, I'll take and write down for just in 2 minutes, I'll write down how I got better that day, or what I learned that day, or how I improved that day, or how I moved forward that day. And if I can't think of something, then I have a book that I'll leave next to that note, and I will open the book and read for 15 minutes until I can write something. I do that because I believe you either go forward or backward in a day. And if you think you're sitting still, you're actually drifting slowly backward. And I never again want to go to bed in a day where I went backward. I only want to have gone forward in life. So those are a couple of things. I think recognizing that time works a little differently than most people think, and that it has a lot of value. It has more value than money itself, and that you can create success through relationships, that people matter, all of those things. But it starts with gratitude and growth.
Gratitude and growth. Funny, but in the dream book that I mentioned earlier to you, to you and Ricky, I have a page that contains exactly just that, gratitude and growth page.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. The third question is, what tips do you have for someone who wants to live the digital nomad lifestyle?
So if they want to live a digital nomad lifestyle, it's about understanding who you want to be and what your North Star is. And I think this will probably come up in some of the questions later as well. It's one of the most common topics that I work with my new clients on, and within our mastermind with that group of clients as well. It's the idea that we want to understand what it is that we're aiming at. Who do we want to be and where do we want to be, and really make sure that that is our North Star. Then you make all of your decisions related to that. The way you ask 2 questions. It's a decision filter that I train with a lot of my clients. Question number 1 is, will whatever I'm considering doing move me closer to my North Star or further away? And if the answer is further away, then whatever that choice was, it just goes away. We're not going to do it. If the answer is it moves me closer, then we ask question number 2, which is there anything that moves me further, faster towards my North Star? And if something else would move me further, faster than this thing I'm considering, I take it and I put it on a list. And it's that way it makes me mentally happy because I got some calm because I put it on a list and I know it'll get taken care of at some point, but it isn't the thing that I need to do right now. And then I come back and I look for what is the thing that moves me the furthest, the fastest, and I focused on doing that thing, or those couple of things. And doing that will give you the greatest chance for freedom. And if becoming a digital nomad and living that lifestyle is your goal, and the freedom that comes from that is your North Star, choosing the things that move you the furthest, the fastest towards it will be a really big deal. Now, how do I do that? I look at the things in my life and I ask, well, do I have to make some big decisions? Because aiming towards the North Star, it might be a big choice. For me to get to my North Star, to head towards the digital nomad lifestyle that I'm now moving towards, I knew that I had to begin helping people in a different way than I was. And I was actually offered a promotion and resigned my position at a very successful company to start my own company. And that was a scary, big leap. Most people don't need to make that big of a leap, but you have to be prepared to jump forward to get the freedom that you want and live that lifestyle.
All right. So if you decide that the digital nomad lifestyle is for you, you have to determine that as your sort of North Star, and your North Star becomes a sort of compass for you to decide whether an action you will make will move you closer or farther away from that North Star. Is that right?
Yep.
And to have the courage to actually create the decisions and actions to actually follow that North Star, to have that courage.
Yep, that is very true. And the other thing that I would throw in there is one that we talked about a moment ago, which is that relationships are everything. So if you want to live the digital nomad lifestyle and you're focused on growth and moving forward, then find those who you respect who are living it Ask them 1,000 questions. Learn about what they're doing. Learn their path. Your path may be different than theirs, but you can learn from theirs and you can consolidate and figure out what is the best way for you. But learn about people who are in that world and commit to helping them. Engage with them. Provide value to them, and as a result, you'll learn from them.
All right. So it's like learning from the people that you admire.
Absolutely. I believe pretty passionately, one of my core beliefs is that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time around. So I very consciously choose who to spend the most time around in my life because I know I'll become like that. So if that's your North Star and that's where you want to be, make sure that some of your 5 are people in that world and add value to that, and you will gain value back.
Add value to that and you will gain value back. Mm-hmm. All right. The fourth question is, this question is pretty interesting to me because of the dream books that I make. So it's all about dreams. So the fourth question is, what should someone do to make his or her dreams come true?
I think the answer is pretty similar to what we just talked about, but there's a little more to it. I think understanding what your dream is and why that dream is your dream matters. So I would start with saying, all right, I have this dream. Well, why? What am I trying to accomplish by it? What is behind the dream? What's the goal behind it? And once you've established firmly what your North Star is, now start looking for how you can move towards it. Look forward to what can you do the furthest, to get you there the furthest, the fastest. But I would also say that you need to look at what's holding you back. Look at the things that you're doing in life that you don't need to be doing, that might not be moving you forward, that might be default suggestion or default choices that you're making every day that don't have to be in place. Maybe you're spending an hour watching TV, or maybe you're spending an hour meeting with people who aren't helping you get towards that goal, and really evaluate those choices and how you're spending your time. Second is learn the skills that you'll need. Too many people have a dream and aren't willing to do the work to get to the dream. The reality is that I meet with most of my clients and they know where they are and they have a pretty good idea of where they want to be, but this path in between is very difficult for them. And that's where my specialty comes in, is I'm pretty good at seeing that path and helping them understand how to get down the tracks and what switches to throw for the train to get to the goal. But I tell them that their job, I may help them with the tracks, but they have to put the coal in the engine. And so I would say that if you have a dream, be willing to work for it. Very little of worth comes without putting in effort and using some strategy and being willing to make some degree of sacrifice to get there. So work hard, build the skills that you need. Figure out, do I need to be really good at time management? Do I need to be good at leadership? Do I need to be a better communicator? Do I need to be better at sales and persuasion? Do I need to understand how to travel more effectively? Do I need to learn about the countries that I want to go to? Whatever it is, figure out what you need and start doing the work to get there.
All right, let me try to sum it up. You mentioned one is find your why. The second is find out what's holding you back. And third is learn the skills that you need. Is that right?
That's very good.
All right. Okay, the fifth question is, what is your favorite travel story?
My favorite travel story? There are 2, so I will pick the one that is most relevant to this conversation. Even though our trip to London and Paris was amazing a couple of years ago, and our trip to Hawaii and all that was wonderful, the travel story that's really relevant to this discussion is me going to the Philippines just a few months ago. And this is relevant for a couple of reasons. It was me getting rid of a self-imposed barrier. I had convinced myself in my head that going around the world was very difficult. And so I was introduced to Ricky, the organizer of this amazing conference, and the organizer for Freedom Summit Global. And it was a great introduction, and we became friends. And I then sent him a note and said, "Hey, do you mind if I come visit you?" because I want to spend some time around you. And I imagine that he was a little surprised, and we talked for a while, and he said, sure, that'd be great. And he was super gracious and offered to host. And I went alone and went and met him and had lots of adventures. We rode in more than a dozen types of transportation, went to different types of museums. I met a wonderful driver who will listen to this, Julius, and he was kind enough after I met him to take me home to his family, and they cooked chicken adobo for me. And it was just a wonderful, great way to meet people. And people are the essence of travel, and they're the essence of our journey through life. Relationships are what matter, and relationships are what that trip was all about. With Ricky, with the people on the streets, with the massage that we got, with Julius at the volcano, wherever we went, it was all about relationships. And that was a fantastic travel story to do a lot of really cool stuff about all as far from home as I could get.
I believe in that too. That for me, when it comes to traveling, it's all about people as well, not just the places that I go to. I believe in that as well, Dan.
That's good.
The sixth question is, what is your vision for the future?
So for the future, my vision is, I suppose, pretty simple in some ways, in that my vision for my future is to help as many people as possible. I believe, as you said at the beginning, that dreams are real. And as I'll talk about at the summit, I believe that we have a lot of our own objections. We have this voice in our head, and we'll talk about him. Everybody will know the name Harold, because we're gonna name him Harold. And Harold says all these bad things to us. Harold in our that voice in our head tells us that we're not good enough, or we don't have it. We shouldn't be charging for what we do, or we should get a real job, or we should go. This is a nice hobby. Whatever it is, all the things to shout us down. Harold's not a really great guy. And what I believe that a lot of my mission in this world is to help people recognize that dreams are real, to help them realize that they can create and grow profit regardless of what their skill and ability is. And so my vision for the future is where we go around the world sharing how people can gain that freedom and accomplish and achieve their dreams, and they can live a life that they've always wanted to live. And not to do that for tens of people or even tens of thousands, but to share that message with millions of people over the next 10 years. And that is my vision of the future.
That's a great vision. And now, finally, the last question. Where can people find you online?
They can find me, for the most part, anywhere with the word Leaders Must Lead. That is the company that I formed, because I do believe passionately in leadership. We are all leaders in life, and we can all be better leaders. So that, excuse me, that is what I've focused on. So Instagram, Leaders Must Lead. Facebook, Leaders Must Lead. My website, leadersmustlead.com, which by the time most people hear this, we'll have the new website up. It'll be new and shiny and great, and have a lot of great resources. But that'll probably be a week from when this is recorded. And then on LinkedIn is the one place where you'll find me truly under my name, Dan MacPherson, and I'm glad to connect with everyone there. I would be excited to connect and respond with people across social media for Leaders Must Lead in any way that we can. I love to help, and I love to meet new people.
Thank you, Dan. That ends our interview. So again, I invite everyone to the Freedom Summit to achieve time freedom, financial freedom, and location freedom. We'll be in Manila on March 30 to 31, Kuala Lumpur April 6, Singapore April 7, Bali April 13, and Chiang Mai April 17. And we invite everyone to like Freedom Summit Asia and Freedom Summit Global on Facebook.
Absolutely.
That ends our interview. Thank you so much, Dan.
Yes, see you at Freedom Summit Asia.